Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Liv. My name is Olivia. Liv, yeah, I don't know what else to say, but welcome. This is episode 11. We'll be touching on the middle child syndrome. Now, obviously, okay, it's not obvious, but so today we'll be touching on the middle child syndrome. I am a middle child. I have an older brother and I have a younger sister. I say young, but she's like not that much younger than me. Again, excuse me if you hear my notes and everything like that. You guys keep praying for me that I can get super duper memory so I don't have to keep writing things down. And you won't have to hear paper ruffling in the podcast. Anywho, so I've always thought that the position that I have, so I'm the eldest girl and a middle child. Now, I do believe being an eldest girl plays a big difference in comparison to being like, I don't know, like a second girl, third girl, whatever. But I will make a separate episode on that. So look out for that one. But today I'm just going to touch on middle child syndrome, different traits of a middle child, traits I think I have, and just you'll get the gist as it goes on. But basically the whole middle child syndrome thing kind of started with this guy called Alfred Adler. Now, he was a doctor, so kind of specialised in psychology. They'll call him a psychiatrist, but I guess depending on where you research, some might call him a psychotherapist, a psychologist. But anyway, he was one of the first psychologists to kind of specialise and birth that whole idea of individual psychology. So he developed theories such as superiority complex, inferiority complex. Those words were very difficult to pronounce, but today I'm just going to talk about what he thought about the birth order. So I have a definition of middle child syndrome, and it goes as follows. Middle child syndrome is the belief that middle children are excluded, ignored, or even outright neglected because of their birth order. According to this, some children may have certain personality and relationship characteristics as a result of being the middle child. So, Alfred Adler kind of developed his theory in 1964 on the importance of a birth order affecting your personality development. So he said the following, that the oldest child is more authoritarian and feels all-powerful due to the high expectations often set by the parents. The youngest child is treated like a spoilt baby and can never rise above the other siblings. And finally, the middle child is even-tempered but has trouble fitting in due to being sandwiched between the younger and older siblings. Right. Now, just reading that, I kind of feel like it is partly true, but in reference to myself, I feel like I'm a bit of an authoritarian because of my younger sibling, and I don't really feel sandwiched because I think there is a bit of a gap between my brother and I, but there's not much of a gap between my sister and I, so maybe that's why I don't feel sandwiched. I do also believe I am even-tempered, like I have a level head, but we will discuss that more as we go along with the episode. So, I wanted to read an excerpt from an article. So, it starts off like this. In essence, the middle child is both an older and younger sibling and benefits from both of these positions. They have an older sibling to look up to and learn from. The older one might show the middle child how to tie their shoelace or teach them how to play basketball to try out for a new team. The middle child also learns through observations to avoid many behavioural mistakes the older child makes with their parents. Modelling themselves after the older child helps them to succeed and grow up faster. A middle child also benefits from having a younger sibling. The younger sibling idolizes them and shows them love and affection. Every time they help them up once they fall down or hold their hand when they're crossing the street, the middle child is learning to be a caretaker and a nurturer. When they teach the younger sibling a new game or watches their sibling when their parents are out, they are learning how to take responsibility and be a leader. As one of 3 children, the middle child naturally learns how to relate to a group, how to share, listen to others, and join in on activities and become very sociable. Because they have dealt with both an older and younger sibling, each with varying personalities, the middle child may become particularly skilled as a negotiator. Now, I kind of found that it was a bit like, oh my gosh, like, has this person, like been in my head? Have they been in my life? Because personally, that's kind of how I see myself. I feel like having both an older brother and then my younger sister, I'm just a bit like, how I am as a person has definitely been shaped due to that. My brother kind of taught me, like, he kind of had the blueprint of like how to maneuver life with our parents in terms of just he knew them before I knew them. So however I was going to act or whatever I wanted to do, he's already done it. So it's kind of like, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. I've told you what you can do. If you don't want to take that advice, that's fine. But these will be the consequences, kind of thing. So I've definitely benefited from that a lot, and it has I would say not made me grow up faster, but it's just kind of helps me to avoid certain mistakes. Now, as well as having a younger sister, so Georgia will never admit it, but I do believe that she probably at times looks up to me, and I do know that I need to act accordingly because of that. Because if I just acted any kind of way, it could subconsciously influence her to behave a certain type of way as well. So also like looking after her or taking her to school, picking her up from school, those developed my qualities in terms of being a more caring person, and just kind of taking responsibility and also being like a leader in a situation. I wouldn't say that innately, like being a caring person has definitely, or a caring quality has just grown as I have gotten older. It's not something I'd say like off the bat I'm just a naturally caring person. No, it's as I've gone through different things, I'm like, okay, you are a more caring person because of this, and having a younger sister has definitely aided to that. It mentioned that they like middle kids are more sociable because of their siblings. I'm not gonna lie to you, I am quite introverted, so I'm selective with who I'm social with. You will see me with the same group of people 9 out of 10 times. I'm chatting a lot. 10 out of 10 times with the same group of people. So I don't know about that. I have learned how to share and listen to others because of my siblings, so that bit I do agree with. Now it's interesting. I don't know if it's the same thing with other people or if other people would disagree. If you're also a middle child or you are familiar with middle child syndrome, just let me know what you think. And because I feel like I'm interested in like, so there's a theory of like nature versus nurture in terms of developmental psychology, and I always change my mind whether I think we are who we are because of nature or because of nurturing. It's hard because your genes and just who you are as a person innately plays a big part in how you turn out, but then also how you were raised also makes a big difference. But I always like to look at like my siblings and we all have very different personalities, but we're raised by the same people. So it's like, I don't know. That's why I'm just a bit like, nature sometimes just takes precedent in this situation. But I'm digressing. I will probably do an episode on that because, as you can just see, I'm getting so excited. Anyway, let me read for you the traits of a middle child and also kind of add in where I agree, like if that kind of aligns with me and so forth. So one trait of a middle child that I've read is that we are attention seekers, so we will either act rebellious or people please. Now, I'm not a rebellious person. I do have tendencies to people please, but I don't believe it's because I'm a middle child. I don't believe I lacked any attention growing up from my parents, so I don't think I really can qualify for this example. But my people pleasing isn't because of I'm a middle child, that's just my own issues. They are, so another trait is we are more agreeable and mild mannered since we have to often compromise throughout life. That sounds really sad, but I think it's kind of true. I think we are probably the kids that our parents will go to because we're just going to really probably like just agree for the sake of agreeing. I am quite an agreeable person, a mild mannered person. It could be because of just who I am as a person, like naturally, or just because of my position. I don't know, but that one was funny. Also says that we build strong friendships and relationships, which I can also agree with. Middle children are great mediators. I think I am at times, not all the time. Middle children are wonderful negotiators. Again, at times, not all the time. Like, I can probably negotiate my way into getting what I want. But you know, it's, when you win some and you lose some, you can't win all negotiations. So yeah. Again, middle children are easygoing. 100%. I'm a very easygoing person. Middle kids are innovative. I'm going to just toot my own horn here. I feel like I am quite innovative, so I'm going to agree with that one. We are more independent, 110%. Whether that's also my personality or because of my position, I do believe we are independent because I feel like we kind of have to be. If you were one of those middle kids that were ignored, you developed being independent because of it, because no one's really looking after you, no one's really caring for you. So yeah, I would agree with that one. We are self-motivated because the attention was put on our eldest and youngest siblings. I am self-motivated. I don't know. I keep looking back at my childhood. I'm like, I wasn't neglected, but then maybe, I guess when my sister came, maybe more attention was put on her. So maybe that's why I'm self-motivated. I have to reflect on this. Middle children are successful. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Middle children don't crack under pressure. I don't crack under pressure. I think the way that I deal with pressure is quite healthy. I just think it's part of life. So I'll definitely agree with that one. We are great co-workers. Again, that's for my co-workers to say. I can't really come and toot my own horn on that one. And finally, middle children are great parents. I'm not a mom, so we'll have to see about that one. Right. So I think I was going to touch on next how it affects adults, but I feel like, okay, just to kind of touch on that briefly, how the kind of traits that you have as a teenager, I believe this is not anything that's backed up like psychologically, by the way. This is just my own thoughts and feelings. I feel like you get to a certain point, not even 18, like your formative years, maybe like 15, 16, where who you are then, you kind of solidify and don't really change unless you want to. So if you are a people pleaser, if you are a pushover, if you are arrogant, unless you want to change those characteristics, they kind of follow you for life. You do adapt and you do grow as you get older, but again, these are all personal choices. So as a middle child, whatever characteristics you kind of developed or have, whatever maybe like resentment you may feel, you might need to go and see someone about that, because that ain't leaving you, homie. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Now finally, for any parents out there, future parents, speaking to myself, God willing, I have beautiful children. These are certain things you can do with your middle child to kind of, I guess, break the stereotype that they are, you know, they're not nurtured enough, they lack attention, things like that. So the first one is just to kind of carve out time to spend alone with them. So not all the time doing things with all your kids, just that one-to-one attention that maybe you might prioritize with your eldest child or your youngest child. Make sure you're doing that with your middle child too. Just learn to kind of encourage them to be individuals. I would say in my family, in just being an individual, it was inevitable because we just are very different characters. Although I am kind of like a bit of both my siblings, more my elder sibling than my youngest one. But in terms, if you have like kids that are, I don't know, maybe the oldest one is really good at spelling, you might just naturally try and build that into your middle child as well. But maybe they're a bit better at football or better at running or something like that. So yeah, just kind of encourage their individualism and see them for who they are and not an extension or a second of their eldest sibling. Sorry. So also encourage them to verbalize how they're feeling. Maybe they might not really express themselves, maybe they might feel like they don't have the space to. So just kind of encouraging them to say how they feel, just so they don't feel again left out. And finally, speak to them. It sounds odd, but I feel like from what I was researching anyway, I'm not a parent, I can't speak of it on it firsthand, but just encouraging them to have conversations with you so they know that this is something that's normal. They don't have to feel like, we can't speak with our parents and things like that. And that goes for any of your kids, whether they're the eldest child or the youngest child. Just encourage them to feel like they can speak to their parents is a very good thing, because a lot of the time children maybe don't feel like they can speak to their parents, so just kind of emphasizing the importance of that is healthy in the long run, regardless of what child it is. Now that is it for this. I'll probably do one on eldest sibling and the youngest sibling, but that will be another time. I don't know when, but I will do that. Again, thank you for listening. If you've made it to the end of this, I appreciate it. I will see you guys next week through the mic, not visibly. So yeah, bye.